We've been expecting this inflation rate to begin to level off, and so these early indicators from the New York Fed are that kind of positive sign that we've been looking for.
A New York Federal Reserve report published recently shows a three-year inflation outlook at a new low. The monthly survey of consumer expectations indicates that respondents see inflation staying elevated over the next year, but then receding in the next couple of years after that.
There's some really interesting things there about what households are expecting, line by line, different products and commodities. Gas prices, they're expecting them to come down a little bit. They're expecting that maybe they won't be able to make their debt payments as well as they did.
The U.S. Consumer Price Index reading for July also indicates the annual inflation rate slowing to 2.9%, the lowest since March 2021. National reports say U.S. economists are growing confident the Federal Reserve may finally cut interest rates as soon as next month. But what does this mean locally? University of Guam School of Business and Public Administration Dean and Economy Professor Dr. Roseann Jones breaks it down.
And so it's not a great match directly with the Guam community, but we look at that as a good indicator. If generally other communities are seeing that price levels are coming down a bit, then we too would expect whatever our inflation rates are to come down a bit too.
She says it's nuanced as Guam experiences inflation at a higher impact.
Gas prices go up in the States, but they really go up here. And food prices go up in the States and food prices go up here because we have not only, we don't produce a lot locally, so we're dependent on importing a lot of the goods that are in our marketplace.
The dean notes Guam does not conduct its own survey of consumer expectations, and Guam's Consumer Price Index is currently based on a 2005 basket of goods, so it's harder to measure inflation locally and see how households are actually holding up.
I would expect the expectations are that we would still have higher rates for rents in the future, but that is longer term with the growth of housing and opportunities there. It may come down a bit, but it's a sensitive point.
She also takes the island's current housing shortage into account.
I think we could do kind of a similar survey here of, we do some things about our consumers, our consumer household income survey, but that's very dated right now.
She says work is being done by the Bureau of Statistics and Plans to get a better handle on inflation data.
We recognize that a lot of the calculations that we're basing this on comes from 2002, 2005. And so the basket of goods that we're calculating our inflation index on is kind of dated. We don't purchase the same kinds of things that we used to. So we need an update to that.
Meantime, while the government of Guam can't set interest rate policies, she says they can take action through smaller policies like incentivizing businesses to lower costs with tax incentives. Another way to help, she adds, is by updating the cost of living allowances to retirees to reflect the rise in prices.